There's so many films about like violence against women and women's trauma, and they don't reflect, I think, the ways in which young women actually talk about like how much of a nightmare it is to be a young woman in the world sometimes. It was very early on that I thought of Rachel for the role. I had seen her stand up a really long time ago, in probably like 2016, so when you were 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Your stuff
I don't know.
was so raw then too.
It was really fresh and new.
You were finding your voice, but it was
Diaper
there.
don't fit so good. Diaper full of poopy.
I already knew Allie, not super well, but I feel like everything I had heard about her and seen of her work, all amazing. And then we had that chemistry read together, and I just felt like we clicked, which is hard to do
on Zoom
with all these chemistry reads in a row, and you're like, I'm somehow connecting with you, which is really
connecting with everyone.
Yeah, no, it's rare. And then Allie sent me the script, and it was just beautiful, and I really felt like I had never read a script that handled trauma and like PTSD in this way that was not some sort of like revenge thing or just one moment in time. Like it was that kind of what it is in real life, which is like slow burning and brutal, and then sometimes boring and sometimes funny, and then you become a bad person or you're rude to your roommates. Like, you know, it was just so nuanced and real, and I related to the material and I connected with it. The vision she has for this movie is so clear, and I was just like lucky to be a part of telling the story.
No, I think we got very lucky with when you did the film.
Maybe we're all lucky to be on this cast.
Maybe we're all
I feel
lucky.
lucky. There's a scene where we're in the green room at the comedy club, and my character comes off stage, and there's a guy in the green room being shitty, and that felt probably the most. There's a straight guy being shitty, and I was like,
Maybe in that situation exact before.
That's it. Yeah, I was like, this is every night, actually.
That was just a reality show camera we put up at the comedy club.
Something that attracted me to stand up from the beginning was being able to sort of take things that felt traumatic or embarrassing and then own them on stage and transform those things into empowering things. And that was sort of like the electric drug that Olga will one day get addicted to. Dealing with trauma in a way that leads to some sort of ownership of your own story.
There's so many films about like violence against women and women's trauma, and they don't reflect, I think, the ways in which young women actually talk about like how much of a nightmare it is to be a young woman in the world sometimes. And I was like, you develop a sense of gallows humor about it, and I didn't really see that in pop culture, and I wanted to kind of honor that process that I think women and queer people have together, and sort of the reality and the way that we talk to each other about things.
I think also stand-ups are people who are like desperate to like say something.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
No, stand-ups are desperate.
True.
It is funny.
Desperate and descendant.
Desperate. Thank you. This was a great interview.